Falcon 9 is in startup.
There we heard the call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. The flight computers have taken over the launch sequence. First and second stages are now beginning to pressurize for launch.
LD is go for launch.
Stage 2, pressing for flight.
T-minus 30 seconds.
At T-minus 30 seconds, all systems are go for launch. Let's listen in to the final countdown and watch as Falcon 9 takes our Starlink
Stage 1 tanks pressing
satellites
for flight.
to orbit.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
M1D performance is nominal.
Successful liftoff for Falcon 9 from pad
Power and telemetry
39A
nominal.
at Kennedy Space Center. There we just heard that power and telemetry is nominal. Moments ago, we began to throttle the 9 Merlin engines that you see. They're propelling the first stage through the atmosphere. We began to throttle them down in preparation for max Q, also known as the
Max Q.
All right, there we heard the call out. The vehicle just went through the moment in which it experiences the greatest aerodynamic pressure. In about a minute, we're going to have 3 events happening back to back. First will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, where all 9 M1D engines will shut down and slow the vehicle in preparation for event number 2, stage separation. As the name indicates, this is where the first and second stages will separate.
Engine chill has begun.
There we heard the call for MVAC engine chill, indicating that the second stage is preparing for that stage sep and ignition of MVAC. After stage separation, stage 1 will start to make its way back to Earth for its landing on our drone ship, and stage 2 will continue its journey along with the third event, SCS-1, or second engine start 1, where MVAC will ignite and begin to propel the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. Expecting MECO in about 10 seconds.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
All right, on your screen there, we have visual confirmation of those 3 events. MVAC is now ignited and beginning to develop that warm orange glow. The next event we have coming up is fairing deployment.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There on your screen, we now see those 60 Starlink satellites. Those fairings will make their way back to Earth as well. Like I mentioned before, we won't be able to bring live coverage of the recovery attempt for those fairings, as they'll be happening after we close our webcast. So be sure to check in on our social media accounts for updates on that. Second stage telemetry looks good. Everything is nominal there. Now, as it heads towards its targeted drop-off orbit, first stage, there on the left-hand side of your screen, will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. Again, these satellites are designed to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to us Earthlings. This is especially useful in places where good internet is hard to access or impossible. So not only rural areas, but thinking about airplanes and ships will also be able to
Stage 1
receive
FTS is saved.
high-speed, reliable internet.
Stage 1, entry burn startup.
So there we have visual confirmation that the first of 2 burns, the entry burn, has begun. And this will last for about another 5 seconds.
Stage 1, entry burn shutdown.
All right, shutdown of those, again, that was performed with 3 engines. Checking in on the second stage, everything continues to look nominal there. Trajectory is looking good.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
The next
Stage
event
1,
that
entry transonic.
the next event we have coming up in about 30 seconds is the first stage landing
And
burn.
back, throttling down.
There we heard the call out for MVAC throttling down in preparation for second engine cutoff, which will happen just before T plus 9 minutes.
Terminal guidance.
Stage 1, landing burn startup.
All right, we heard the call out that the landing burn for stage 1 has begun. This will last about 20 seconds.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
All right, visual confirmation
Stage 1,
there
landing confirmed.
that this booster has landed for a second time. There we see a live shot from our drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, I still love you. Hear the clapping and celebration of some of our first shift technicians here in the building. Second stage continues to look good.
Nominal orbital insertion.
All right, and there we just heard the call out for good orbit for second stage. So at this point, stage 2 is going to coast in this orbit for just a few minutes. During this time, it will start to spin along its central axis, giving the Starlink satellites the momentum that they need to deploy and space themselves out over time after deployment.
Expected loss of signal.
We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back at T plus 14 minutes and 15
Acquisition
seconds.
of signal,
Stick with us.
Newfoundland.
Welcome back to our webcast for Starlink this morning. We had an on-time liftoff from Cape Canaveral and saw a successful landing by Stage 1 made on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, out in the Atlantic Ocean. Second stage has been coasting along now as we are awaiting the deployment of the 60 Starlink satellites that you see stacked up there on your screen. So that deployment will be coming up here in about 10 seconds.
Starlink deploy confirmed.
There on your screen, we see the Starlink satellites have deployed, and using the momentum that they got from the slight spin around about the
rates.
central axis. What a beautiful sight. Shortly, these satellites will deploy their solar arrays, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves out from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to operational orbit. And with that, we'll be bringing our webcast to a close. Thank you to the range and the FAA for supporting today's mission. If you're interested in getting future news about our Starlink service, head on over to starlink.com and sign up for updates. Follow our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. Until then, have a good one.